If you're like me and you love to watch loads of movies but you have none left to watch, here are some movies that I'm sure you haven't watched just yet. Hi guys! Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm just going to be bringing you some movies to watch on Netflix when you're bored. Let's get into this video. Okay, so number one would have to be Labor Pains. It's basically this movie where this girl, she talks badly about her boss behind his back to the co-workers. He listens in, he hears her, and then he tries to fire her, but then apparently it's against the law to fire a pregnant woman, so she's like, oh yeah, she's pregnant. And the whole movie is basically about how she keeps up the lie that she's pregnant for so long. Even like quarter way through the movie, the CEO, the boss, leaves and his brother comes in to take over the company while he's gone. It's just this movie how this girl navigates this lie that she's pregnant, because it actually drags on for a long time that everyone thinks she's pregnant. Yeah. Number two is What to Expect When You're Expecting. It's this movie basically that has 4 or 5 couples whose lives are intertwined, about how the girls in the group try and get pregnant, and how the men help them through their pregnancy. So it's kind of like how they all 5 different couples have all 5 different journeys on how they get pregnant, or how they adopt, or how they get babies. They just have really different experiences, and it's a really good movie because all their lives are kind of intertwined in one way or another, and it's just really interesting. I would definitely recommend it. Next movie is Life as We Know It. Basically, these two best friends who they set up on a date a few years ago, and it didn't work out because the guy turned out to be kind of like a jerk. So obviously the date didn't go so well. So years later, that couple stayed together, they got married, they had a baby, and these two best friends, they became the godfather for that baby because they've been friends for such a long time. Long story short, the couple gets in a car crash and they die, and obviously the baby's still there. So the couple, without the best friends knowing, they named the best friends the godparents of the baby. And the movie is basically just how their lives turn upside down, because obviously they were single before and they didn't have a kid. So now they have to live in the couple's house and take care of their baby. It's just a lot. And it's actually a really good movie. It's quite nice. I really like it. Next is Lion King. I'm sure we've all watched the Disney animation one, I guess. But the fresh one that came out in 2019, the live action one, I actually really like that one way more. It's not as if the storyline is different. It's basically how this Mufasa was the king of the jungle, that his brother Scar was jealous, so he killed him off. And the whole movie is how Simba ran away because Scar convinced Simba that he was the reason his father died. And the whole movie is just about how they navigate their life. It's quite interesting. It's not really different from the Disney animation that was made in the 1990s. I just think it's more interesting. So yeah. Next topic is what happened to Monday. This whole country, parents are only allowed to have 1 child. So this woman, she actually gives birth to, I think, 6 kids? She gives birth to 6 girls, identical twins. And she dies in childbirth, because obviously there's six kids. So her father, their grandfather, is still there. And he he knew his daughter wanted the best for all of his kids. Basically, in this whole this country, if you have more than 1 child, they're gonna put them in this sleep machine that actually kills them, but they make people think that it just keeps your child asleep until the population is down, then they can wake up. No, it just kills them basically. So the whole movie is basically how these FBI agents, I don't want to say FBI because that's not what they're called, but I don't know the actual name, just these police forces who find these people who have more than 1 child, they take the child away. But they've been tracking these girls for years. So it's basically how they find out about it. We don't know how they found out about it, that's for you to watch the movie and see for yourself. But how they find out about it, and how these 6 girls kind of run away, escape from them. Obviously not all of them make it, but I guess you'll have to watch and see who does. Next is My Sister's Keeper. This movie made a lot of my friends cry, and I guess just I see a lot of the comments under the movie, it makes a lot of people cry. It didn't really make me cry. But it's basically about this child. She was born to this couple. She, a year or 2 into her life, they found out she had leukemia, and she needed all these transplants. Maybe she needed a bone marrow, she needed stem cells, she needed maybe an organ transplant. The parents weren't compatible. And she had an older brother, he wasn't compatible with the sister either. So the doctor advised them to have one of those donor babies. A donor baby is basically a baby that's born just to give to the sibling and make They basically made in a lab. They're basically a test tube baby, but basically show that they have the right organs and the right blood type to match the child who is sick. So basically that's what they had. They had this baby, her name's Anna, and she was giving like blood, bone marrow, even an organ to her sister Kate for like since maybe she was like 6 months old. It's just really horrible, and it just shows how like eventually Kate didn't want the treatment anymore, and her mum was too controlling to see that. So obviously, I mean, that was hard for the whole family. It definitely shows her life in like stages. So when they were children, when she was like 12, when she was 15, and then the end of her life. Next movie is Me Before You. Oh my goodness, I love this movie so much. Basically, this man, he lives a normal life. He has a fiance and everything. One day, he was just walking on the street and he gets hit by a car. And then they made him a paraplegic, one of the two. They're kind of like, he's disabled now. He can't walk, he can't move anything or feel anything above his like neck region. So he was wheelchair bound, right? And then they found this new nanny for him because he keeps driving all his nannies away. I guess that's understandable because he's a bit upset about it, but it's been years and he's just grumpy and bitter. Again, understandable. But this nanny is somehow different from the others, and she kind of like brings him out of his shell kind of thing. But then they find out later in the movie that he wants to take his life. Obviously not like hanging himself away, because obviously he can't move his arms. He wants assisted suicide. That's like euthanasia. But yeah, the movie's kind of showing how she tries to make him live life, so maybe she changes his mind. Next movie is Where Hands Touch. It's basically a movie set in Germany. It's during the time of the Holocaust, where all the Jews in Germany were being killed. But basically there's this girl who was born to her white German mother, but she has a black African father, so she was mixed. And in Germany, they just called her Negro. They didn't really accept, obviously, she was black. And it was basically, they used to kill them off, and she had a very hard time. But this movie is how like one of the big general's sons fell in love with this mixed girl. One thing led to another. She ended up getting pregnant with his kid. But before she even found out, she got sent over to a concentration camp with the Jews just for her being black, even though she was German as well. And he was sent to that camp as well to kind of like patrol everything, and they tried to get out together, but obviously something happened to him. You have to watch the movie to find out what happened to him. Next is Everything Everything. It's basically a movie where this mother and this daughter, they lose their dad and their brother to like a horrible car crash. It was horrible. But this girl, apparently she's like, at least her mother tells her, she's allergic to the sun, so she can't go outside. If she goes outside, she could die, which is a bit weird. But yeah, they said she can't go out in the sun. But she gets these new neighbors, these new people move in next door, and he just seems like a really fun person. They start talking through the windows, and then they get closer. He comes, I think he brings gifts into the house. Or wait, is it she can't talk to people? I don't think she's allergic to sun. I think she's allergic to like freaking bacteria in the air, something like that. It's complex, I don't know. But basically he comes into, she has this nanny who disinfects everything, and the nanny is like, oh, she sees that they're friends and he's been good for her, so she allows him into the house and everything. Long story short, she runs away from her because she thought her mother was lying to her this whole time, which she kind of was, but then she kind of wasn't as well. You have to watch the movie to figure it out. Next is The Wolf of Wall Street. Basically, I think everyone knows about this story, but it's basically about this girl. He was a stockbroker at this like big firm, and one thing led to another. They got caught for fraud and stuff, so he obviously had to go back to square one. He moved town with his wife. They went to like this whole new place that they were selling penny stocks for, just like really tiny stocks that you can barely make commission off of. And he went there, he started selling stocks, and then he was making decent income, like maybe 50,000 a month. And he was like, you know what, let me start my own firm. He started his own firm. One thing led to another. They started engaging in fraudulent activities. They were always doing drugs. The feds were trying to catch them for a really long time. Eventually he slipped up, he made some mistakes. He went to go make an offshore account in France. They traced him. He got caught for fraud, basically, but he didn't end up going to jail for a long time. I think he sold some of his friends out. The movie is just really all over the place, but it's a really good movie. I would highly recommend you watch it. This movie would have to be Birds of Prey. I know that movie, I know a lot of people said when it first came out in 2020 that it was really horrible and it was just not worthwhile. But to be so honest with you, I watched it for the first time last year, like September, and I really did enjoy it. The thing is, I can't watch it anymore because I just feel like I'd be bored. But the first time you watch it, I feel like you'll like it the first time. So yeah, Birds of Prey is basically about how Harley Quinn, she and the Joker broke up, and now that she doesn't have the protection of the Joker, like, it's all man for themselves, because everyone who she offended while she was with the Joker, obviously they couldn't hurt her because she had the protection of the Joker. But now that they're broken up, all those people want revenge. So it's kind of like how she forms an alliance with all these other women who initially they wanted to kill her, but now they're on her side. So she's kind of fighting all these people off with protection of her team. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so we're at the end of the video, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed it. And maybe comment down below if you have watched any of these movies. Comment down below what was your favorite part of the movie. Yeah. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.